You've probably stood in front of the mirror, pulled your hair up, let it fall, pulled it up again, and just felt tired. Not tired of trying. Tired of not knowing what you're actually working with anymore. Fine, thinning hair after 60 is one of those things nobody warns you about, and most stylists don't explain nearly well enough. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results, fast. Today I'm showing you 3 short hairstyles specifically chosen for fine thinning hair. Each one with the structure, the cut placement, and the styling approach that makes hair look fuller, denser, and more intentional than it has in years. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The layered pixie with a soft nape. Here's something most women with fine hair never hear. The shape of your cut is doing more work than any product you own. And the shape most stylists default to, blunt one length, close to the head, is exactly the shape that makes fine hair look thinner. Not because the hair itself is worse. Because a flat, even cut creates no shadow, no dimension, no visual contrast. The eye reads it as sparse instead of styled, and that single misread costs you years. The layered pixie with a soft nape is the antidote to that. And I mean antidote in the most literal sense. It directly counteracts the mechanism that makes fine hair look flat. Here's how. The layered pixie works by stacking shorter pieces underneath longer pieces. Not dramatically, not asymmetrically, but in a gentle cascade from the nape upward toward the crown. That layering creates lift at the root, because the shorter underlayer pushes the longer top layer up and away from the scalp. Even 4 or 5 strands doing that across the crown are enough to create visible movement, and visible movement reads as volume. Your eye doesn't count individual hairs. It reads light and shadow, and layers create both. The soft nape is what separates this from a standard pixie. Instead of a sharp, closed tapered line at the back of the neck, which can look severe and highlight a narrowing silhouette, the soft nape is cut with a slight feathered edge. Barely there. A few whisper-light pieces brushing the neck rather than a hard perimeter line. On fine hair, that softness extends the visual length of the cut, makes the back of the head read fuller, and removes the institutional-style bluntness that aging hair simply cannot carry. Ask your stylist specifically for disconnected layers from the nape to the crown, with the top layer sitting at least a centimeter longer than the underlayer in each section. Then ask for a point cut, not a blunt cut, at the nape. Point cutting means the scissors go into the ends at an angle rather than straight across, creating those soft feathered tips rather than a sharp line. These are not exotic requests. Any good stylist knows them. The difference is in whether you ask. The snapback result is this. When light hits a layered pixie on fine hair, it catches in the separation between layers. That catch is what people register as thickness. Women with this cut regularly hear, "Did you do something to your hair?" Within the first week, not because the hair itself changed, but because the cut is now doing what the hair can't do on its own. Before this cut, a close, blunt pixie where every strand lies flat against the head, the crown looking almost painted on, the overall silhouette shrinking rather than framing. After this cut, a layered, feathered pixie where the crown lifts, the nape softens, and the whole head reads as noticeably fuller without a single extra strand of hair. The styling maintenance is minimal, which matters. A small amount of light hold mousse worked through damp hair from root to tip, then air-dried or blown dry on a low setting with your fingers lifting at the crown. That's it. No round brush pulling the hair flat. No product weighing the layers down. Just fingers lift and heat. 3 minutes. The second hairstyle coming up is one that stylists almost never recommend for fine hair. But when it's done right, it's genuinely the most transformative cut in this video. Part 2. The textured bob with invisible volume architecture. Most people think a bob is a safe choice for thinning hair. It's not. A standard bob, blunt ends, even length, one clean perimeter line, does something very specific to fine hair. It makes the thinness visible at the ends. That perimeter line is where fine hair shows its hand. The ends that should look full and dense instead look see-through, wispy, and unfinished. And the longer that perimeter line, the more pronounced the problem. The textured bob solves this not by abandoning the bob shape, but by rebuilding it from the inside. This is what I mean by invisible volume architecture. The structure that creates the appearance of fullness is built into the cut itself, in places you can't see when the style is finished, but that you absolutely feel in how the hair behaves. Here's the architecture. The textured bob for fine hair sits just below the jaw, not at it, not above it, just below. That exact length is not accidental. Above the jaw, the cut sits in the widest part of the face on most women, which can read as boxy. At the jaw, the ends sit right at the point where fine hair's thinness is most exposed. Just below the jaw, the ends settle at the neckline where there's natural support from posture and movement, and where the slight length creates a soft visual swing when she turns her head. That swing reads as density. The internal structure comes from two specific techniques. First, a razor cut or heavy point cut at the ends, not scissors straight across. This removes bulk from the perimeter and replaces a solid line with individual pieces, so the ends move separately rather than as a single flat sheet. Separate movement reads as fullness. Second, interior graduation at the back. The hair at the nape is cut slightly shorter than the hair at the sides, creating a subtle internal wedge that pushes the sides forward and outward. That gentle forward motion adds visual width to the silhouette exactly where fine hair tends to collapse inward. Tell your stylist this exactly. I want a below-jaw bob with a razor cut or heavily point-cut perimeter and interior graduation at the back. If they push back toward a blunt cut, hold the line. The blunt cut is faster to execute. It is not better for fine hair. The textured perimeter takes maybe 5 extra minutes and makes the difference between a bob that looks flat by day 3 and one that looks intentional for 3 weeks. Now here's the part that surprises most people. The textured bob actually looks better unwashed than the day of the cut. That seems backwards. Usually fine hair goes flat quickly and looks best freshly washed. But because of the razor cut perimeter and the interior graduation, the style has built-in shape that doesn't depend on product or fresh wash. Before this cut, a standard blunt bob where fine hair ends in a thin, see-through perimeter line that makes the overall style look deflated rather than polished. After this cut, a below-jaw textured bob with a razor-cut perimeter and interior graduation, where the ends have individual movement, the silhouette has gentle width, and the whole style reads as deliberately full rather than accidentally thin. The third hairstyle is the most specific of the three, and it's the one I'd argue works hardest for fine, thinning hair at the crown specifically, which is where most women over 60 feel the problem most acutely. Part 3. The crown lift crop with strategic side fringe. Crown thinning is different from general fine hair, and most haircut conversations don't treat it that way. When the crown thins, the scalp becomes visible at the top. Not at the sides, not at the back, but specifically at the very point that reads first in any mirror, any photo, any room. It's the part of the head that faces up under overhead lighting, which is every restaurant, every office, every supermarket. And it's the part that most cuts abandon entirely by lying flat against it. The crown lift crop addresses the crown directly and specifically. It's built around one principle. The hair at the crown must be cut to stand rather than lie. And the strategic side fringe is the piece that completes the illusion, redirecting the eye from the crown itself onto the face. Here's how the crown lift crop is constructed. The hair at the crown is cut to approximately 2 to 3 centimeters, short enough to stand with minimal product, long enough to have visible body. This length is critical. Too short and it lies flat again, nothing to work with. Too long and its own weight pulls it down. At 2 to 3 centimeters on fine hair, the root can hold a small amount of lift on its own, and a tiny amount of volumizing mousse or a light wax locks that lift in place throughout the day. The sides are cut slightly longer, 3 to 4 centimeters, and swept toward the face rather than away from it. That sweep creates framing rather than exposure. When the hair at the sides moves toward the face, it draws the eye along a line that ends at the cheekbone and jaw, which is exactly where you want attention. Away from the crown. Away from the top of the head, onto the face, which is where the person is. The strategic side fringe is cut from that side section. Not a separate fringe attached to the front hairline, but a natural extension of the swept side section that comes forward across one side of the forehead. It sits at brow level or just above, angled across rather than hanging straight down. This fringe does 3 things simultaneously. It covers the front hairline, which is often where thinning is most visible. It creates an asymmetry that draws the eye diagonally across the face rather than straight up to the crown. and it gives the overall cut a shape and intentionality that reads as a decision rather than a default. Tell your stylist this. I want a short crop with the crown cut to 2 to 3 centimeters specifically for root lift, sides cut at 3 to 4 centimeters and swept toward the face, and a soft angled fringe from the side section, not a straight across fringe but an angled sweep from the side. That last distinction matters. A straight across fringe sits flat and heavy, which is wrong on fine hair. The angled sweep from the side has natural movement, and doesn't require daily precision to look intentional. Now here's the thing about overhead lighting that nobody ever says plainly. When the crown is thinning and flat, overhead light falls directly on the exposed scalp and illuminates the very area you'd most like to keep quiet. When the crown is lifted, even by 2 centimeters, that same overhead light now hits the standing hair first, creates a shadow under the lifted section, and reads as depth rather than absence. It's the same light, different cut, entirely different result. The snapback result for this style is uniquely specific. Women with crown thinning who switch to this crop often describe a moment of genuinely not recognizing their own reflection. Not because they look younger per se, but because the thing they've been fixating on for years has been quietly removed from view. Rosalind, 64, described it as looking at a photo of myself and suddenly just seeing my face instead of my hair situation. That's the exact shift this cut is engineered to produce. Before this cut, a short crop where fine silver hair lies flat against the crown, scalp visible under overhead light, the overall silhouette reading as sparse at the very top. After this cut, a crown lift crop with a 2 to 3 centimeter crown length standing with root lift, an angled side fringe redirecting attention to the face, and overhead light now reading as depth and dimension rather than exposure. The final part of this video is where all 3 styles connect, and where I'll show you the one product and the one styling technique that works across all 3, regardless of which cut you choose. Part 4, the one technique that makes all 3 styles work. There's a moment at the salon when most women with fine hair make their biggest styling mistake, and it happens before they even leave the chair. The stylist finishes the cut, picks up the blow dryer, and smooths everything down into the finished look. It looks perfect. Clean, polished, intentional. And then you go home, wash your hair, pick up your own dryer, and try to recreate it. And within 10 minutes the volume is gone, the lift has collapsed, and you're back to exactly where you were before the cut. The problem isn't the cut. The cut is working. The problem is the direction of the heat and the timing of the product. And once you understand those 2 things, every one of the 3 styles in this video becomes genuinely reproducible at home, every single time. Here's the technique, exactly as a stylist would give it to you if they were being completely honest rather than professional. Step 1, product timing. Most women apply volumizing mousse or spray to soaking wet hair, straight out of the shower, dripping. On fine hair, that's too diluted. The product is carried by the water weight down toward the ends and away from the roots, which is the exact opposite of where you need it. Apply your volumizing product when your hair is approximately 70 to 80% dry. At that stage, the water weight is gone. The hair shaft is slightly open and receptive, and the product sits at the root rather than migrating away from it. Work it through with your fingers, lifting sections away from the scalp as you distribute it, never pressing it flat. Step 2, heat direction. When you dry fine hair, the heat should move upward and away from the scalp, not downward along the shaft toward the ends. Most women point the dryer down because it smooths the cuticle and eliminates frizz. That's correct for thick hair. For fine hair over 60, it seals the hair flat against the head, eliminates the microscopic root lift the cut worked to create, and gives you the deflated finish you're trying to avoid. Point the nozzle upward. Use your free hand to lift sections at the root while the heat moves through them. You're setting the root lift in place with that heat, and once it's set, it stays. Step 3, and this is the one nobody mentions, the cool shot. Every standard blow dryer has a cool air button or setting. Most women never use it. After each section is dried with warm air and lifted, hit it once with the cool air while keeping the lift in place with your hand. The cool air sets the hair in position, the same way setting a curl with cool air locks a wave. On fine hair, this makes the difference between root lift that holds for 2 hours and root lift that holds all day. 1 second of cool air per section. That's all it takes. Across the layered Pixie, the textured bob, and the crown lift crop. This exact 3-step approach, late product application, upward heat direction, cool air setting, is what your stylist is doing that makes the salon result look different from your home result. It's not skill, it's sequence. And sequence you can replicate. One product note. For all 3 styles, look for a mousse or spray labeled volumizing or thickening with a light hold, not medium, not strong. Strong hold products on fine hair create stiffness that reads as clumping, which makes thin hair look even sparser because the individual strands are glued together rather than moving separately. Light hold lets the hair move, and movement creates the visual density that stiffness takes away. There's a larger truth sitting underneath all 3 of these styles. And this technique that I want to name plainly. Fine, thinning hair after 60 is not a problem to be disguised. It's a texture to be cut and styled correctly. The women who look most striking with this hair type, and I've studied hundreds, are not the ones with the most product or the most elaborate routine. They're the ones whose cut was designed for their specific hair, rather than adapted from a standard template. That's what today was about. Before the approach in this video, choosing cuts designed for thicker hair, applying product to soaking wet hair, drying with downward heat, watching the result collapse within hours. After, a cut chosen from these 3 specifically for fine thinning hair, product applied at 70 to 80% dry, heat directed upward, cool air locking the root lift, and a finish that holds and reads as intentional. You now have 3 specific cuts: the layered pixie with a soft nape, the textured bob with interior graduation, and the crown lift crop with a strategic side fringe, plus the one technique that makes all 3 actually work at home. That's not a general idea. That's a complete, specific plan you can take directly to your stylist in your bathroom this week. Which of these 3 styles are you most drawn to? Or is there one you've actually already tried? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Next week I'm going deep on the specific fringe shapes that frame the face best after 60, and some of them will genuinely surprise you. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.